Good morning, everyone. At this event of Interreg Europe, this is an information event for Ukraine, and I would like to now welcome our speakers, Rostislav Tomenchuk from the National Authority from Ukraine for our program, and Erwin Sivers, the director of the Interreg Europe program, together with Kristaps Rotjans, our policy officer. But before we get into information about the Interreg Europe program, please, Rostislav, a few words of welcome.
Thank you, colleagues. Thank you, participants. Really very happy to see all of you, and for us, we are very grateful to open this is first info session, first event information for our new program Interreg Europe. It's the start of our new way in the big Interreg family, and for us, it's really very unique to start this work in this year when we can to join for this program for the next few years in finally budgetary European Union process from the 21-27. And if you agree, I add some few words in Ukraine from my side. Колеги, доброго дня. Мене звати Ростислав Томенчук, я керівник Департаменту координації міжнародної технічної допомоги Секретаріату Кабінету міністрів. І ми виконуємо функції національного органу управління програм Interreg. До цього часу довгий час, багато років, Україна входила виключно у програми транскордонного співробітництва Interreg. Особливість програм Interreg пов'язана з тим, що це програми побудовані на основі регламентів Європейського Союзу, пов'язаних з структурними фондами, з регіональним розвитком Європейського Союзу, з політикою згуртованості, cohesion policy, з розбудовою інституцій, розбудовою систем адміністрування, управління і контролю коштів Європейського Союзу, які виділяються для політики згуртованості. І для нас завжди було такою недосяжною мрією з приводу того, ми розуміли, що не всі програми Interreg відкриті для нас, а відкриті тільки програми транскордонного співробітництва. А програми транскордонного співробітництва відкриті в зв'язку з тим, що один з пріоритетів Європейського Союзу є в тому числі підтримка регіонів країн Європейського Союзу, які знаходяться на зовнішніх кордонах Європейського Союзу. Таким чином, наші прикордонні регіони, які знаходилися з протилежної сторони від зовнішнього кордону країн ЄС, були залучені в програми транскордонного співробітництва. Для нас було дуже важливо, коли кілька років тому ми доєдналися до макрорегіональних програм, ви знаєте про Дунайську програму, але для нас завжди залишалися великі такі зачинені двері, програми Interreg Europe, програми Urban Act, програми ESPON, програми Interact. І, звичайно, ми надзвичайно раді, що нам спільно вдалося знайти можливості, згоди і підтримки всіх країн, які входять в моніторинговий комітет програми Interreg Europe, які погодились приєднати Україну вже на цьому етапі. Для нас відкривається багато нових інструментів, їх є дуже багато і вони дійсно є дуже новими, умовно кажучи. Це повна палітра всієї політики згуртованості. Це не вибіркові пріоритети, а це всі пріоритети пов'язані з cohesion policy. Це великі партнерства, які об'єднують десятки країн, десятки організацій, міст, університетів. Це нові інноваційні рішення. Це можливість доєднатися в нові ініціативи, які допоможуть кожному з вас знайти відповідь на ваші запитання і допоможуть з вас розвиватися вам, розвивати ваші території, міста, регіони, дивитися інакше на звичні для вас проблеми. І це допоможе вам бути оцими повноцінними партнерами великих тематичних таких сімей проектних, які працюють в програмі Interreg Європа. Ми ще після цього будемо неодноразово з вами зв'язуватися і будемо проводити більше заходів українською мовою, але дійсно ми раді сьогоднішній день відкрити, по суті, цей інформаційний перший захід Interreg Європа. Дякую за участь, готові будемо дати відповіді на всі запитання. And also I returned for my colleagues from the Interreg Europe. Sorry maybe for the long speech. I will be happy to share my, not to share, to floor is yours, Mr. Erwin Siveris, Director of the Interreg Europe program. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Rostislav, for this nice welcome words. I have to admit I did not understand everything what you said in Ukraine, but you will tell me later on. First of all, warm welcome also from my side. We are very excited to go in this new adventure and extending the program area to 7 new partner states, among them Ukraine is the biggest EU partner state. And I'm also very happy to see such a huge participation. The clock is still running. I see almost 600 participants now online in this webinar. We have more than 1,500 registered. So this is an enormous interest on Interreg Europe, interest to cooperate, interest to work with the EU program. It shows that you are committed to European values, but as much as we are committed to welcome the Ukraine, you as EU family member in our program. I'm also glad to see that we have half of the ones who are registered are representing local authorities, and another fourth coming from public authorities from the regional and the national level. And you are our main target group. Having so many of the target group here is an amazing success already. And I thank Rostislav and his team doing the promotion among the target group to ensure that your participation will be equal to your size of the country, that we have equal participation of Ukrainian partners in the future in the program. My colleague Christoph will explain you all the details, what are the opportunities, what you have to take care for in the next couple of weeks and months. And I'm looking forward to see many Ukrainian partners, authorities in the future lead partner or partner seminars, giving training, having you in the project, visiting projects with Ukrainian participation, maybe even with a lead of an Ukrainian partners. So we are all very excited and do the utmost to ensure that you participate as all the other partner states did in the past, do participate. So I wish you all the best. And as I said, I'm looking forward to meet many of you soon in person. Thank you very much. Christoph, I pass the floor to you.
Thank you, Erwin. Thank you, Rostislav, for the introduction. And indeed, it's my pleasure to be here presenting the program, I believe, first time publicly in Ukraine for such a large number of audience. I see more than 600 people already, and I guess more people are coming. So we're excited. We're excited to see such a big interest, and we hope that we can also deliver on your expectations. And I'm a policy officer of the program. We're based in Lille, north of France, the whole team of Joint Secretariat. And today I'm going to be showing you basically 4 presentations, or one presentation in 4 parts, explaining the program, the main rationale of the program, then talking more about the projects, giving some examples of projects, good practices, also explaining about the policy learning platform, which is the second pillar of the program. And then at the end, we're going to talk about the next steps or the opportunities that are ahead of you, ahead of us, in terms of actually participating in the projects and in activities of the platform. We will have short Q&A sessions between the parts of the presentation. So you can write your questions in the chat or in the Q&A. in English or in Ukrainian. If it's in Ukrainian, I believe the colleagues from the National Authority will help us, of course, to translate them back to me, and I will try to answer them. But again, this today is the first introductory event of the program, so we are not expecting to go very, very deep into very technical questions. We're going to have more additional events in the future planned for you, also during the opening of the new call, where we're going to actually be doing a lot of Q&As on technical things. So today is more of introduction. And I'm also joined in behind the scenes by my colleagues Petra Poloshkova, who is a communication officer, and Ruta, who is a finance officer. So if you have any specific question on the finance, for example, of communication, they can also help me to deliver the answer. And in any way, if we have many questions, because there's so many of you, we can also take them in written and answer them later on in a written form as well. So and forward answers to you. So I will start the presentation with the key program features. And yes, this is very, very important. Disclaimer. So all information that we give you today is subject still to the program approval by the European Commission. There are still some working bits and pieces in agreement with the Commission regarding the integration of the new countries. So some things also might change a bit. We are expecting to have partner states monitoring committee meeting for the program in Madrid in mid-December, where everything should more or less be finalized. But take this as a disclaimer, as a bit of caution now that not everything is 100 or 110% for sure right now. Okay. Interreg programs and cohesion policy. I presume that you more or less know what the cohesion policy of the European Union is, but in the core, it's the policy of the European Union to bring all the regions, all parts of Europe to the common, let's say, development level, to share the funding, to share the knowledge, to bring maybe less advanced regions closer to the level of more advanced regions. And within the cohesion policy, there's a number of Interreg programs operating. So we have 4 strands of Interreg programs, each with its own scope and objectives, and we have in total 86 different Interreg programs and 10 billion euros European Development Fund money behind it. So we have 64 cross-border programs, for example, these smaller Interreg programs like Latvia, Estonia, France, Belgium, etc. Then we have transnational programs, which are these macro region programs like Baltic Sea region program, like the Danube program. So there are different goals. And then we have outermost regions, which is, well, we look for the islands like Madeira, Canary Islands, for these parts of Europe. And Interreg Europe is part of Strand C, so interregional. We are the only Interreg program operating in the whole Europe, for the whole EU, including also Norway and Switzerland, and now the new countries. And we are also part of the joint, let's say, family with Urbact, Interact, and ESPAN. And the current funding, still, yes, IPA funding for the Balkan countries is yet to be confirmed by the Commission. But within that, let's say the current funding for the Interreg Europe program is in total 384 million euros that we are able to give to you through the projects, to the platform, etc. To you, I mean, the whole Europe that we are covering. If we go next, the main objective of the Interreg Europe is to improve regional development policy instruments. So this is, I would say, we are funding soft projects. There's no investments. We are not funding infrastructure. We are not funding direct help to the companies. We are funding the improvement of the policy instruments. We're helping you as a policy makers from the national, regional, local, city level to better implement your policy instruments, your strategies, your laws, your regulations in the ground by bringing you together with the partners from whole Europe in different consortiums and different projects, by sharing the knowledge, by learning, and then helping you basically through these projects and through the platform, which I can also explain, to improve how you deliver your policies on the ground in your country, in your region. And the core is transfer and identification of good practices. So the idea is that we are bringing you together with partners from Spain, Italy, Germany, etc., and you're all learning from different good practices, some running projects, some running initiatives, funding schemes, etc., that you can maybe transfer to your country, that you can take these ideas and maybe implement in your laws, in your strategies, in your systems. And the program is primarily dedicated to the policymakers. Again, we are not funding participation of the companies. So this is not a program for companies. This is program mainly for the policymakers at regional level, at national level, at local level. And of course, we also have universities, some chambers of commerce, this NGOs also part in different roles, but mainly this is for the policymakers. And the focus is on exchange of experience, of changing experience and knowledge with different partners, with different regions in the Europe. And this is where also we're different bit. And the program scope, so eligibility area or the area that the funding can go to is of course all EU countries, all 27 EU countries. And then we have the new candidate countries, Albania, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Moldova, Montenegro, North Macedonia, well, we have also from the old one, Norway and Switzerland. They also have Serbia and of course Ukraine. And the topics that are covered by the program, the topics within which you can develop your projects together with other partners are the same ones defined by the specific objectives of the cohesion policy. So smart, green, connected, social, citizens and governance. And more detailed information about the topics and actually everything is here, which is the program manual. I have it printed, but you can access it all online on our website. Everything that I talk about here today is here. This is like the main guideline for the program, so you can already see it. And also the kind of subtopics under the topic smart and the topic green are also described there. But in general, under the smart, we're looking at the projects speaking about support for the businesses, digitalization, innovation, R&D. Green is for the energy efficiency, green mobility, environment, circular economy, water, etc. Connected is mainly for the mobility, cross-border mobility. Social is very broad. It's health, education, migration, labor law, these kind of things. Citizens and governance. Citizens is for the integrated territorial strategies, also including tourism in urban and rural areas. And governance, this is a horizontal one. For example, the projects that are dealing maybe with just the procurement laws, like these more administrative topics. And each project has to choose one of these topics to go for. Either the project is on energy efficiency, or it is on innovation, or it is on improvement of the health policies, etc. But I'm going to tell about this more in the next presentation about the projects. And yes, we have two actions for the program. Projects, which is of course the largest amount of funding goes to the projects. And as a support, we also have policy learning platform. So the projects are basically, we are giving funding and you are co-funding it to you, to the consortiums, to the partnerships made of partners from whole Europe, where you are able to implement the project for 4 years, exchange the knowledge, learn different experiences from different partner states, and then also improve delivery of your strategies, of your laws, of your regulations on the ground. And the platform is something additional to the projects. This is available to every policymaker in Europe, whether you are in a project or not. They are database of good practices, different kind of analytical materials, expert support, and expert support services. We will have a dedicated presentation on just the platform because many of these things are available to you already today. We're gonna talk about this later. So, main features of the project. So again, as I said, who can participate in the projects? Mainly policymakers from different European regions, the whole Europe again. Why? As I said, to improve the policy instruments. Basically, it's also the way for you to find inspiration and new policy solutions, good practices to solve your regional development challenges. For example, if you want to improve the way you deliver, I don't know, nature preservation policies, then you have to join or implement jointly project that's dealing with the same issue. You can learn how different regions, different countries are regulating their own, let's say, nature parks, etc. So you can take this knowledge to you. And this is the exchange of experience, and these are activities in the projects. And within projects, we speak about mainly study visits to different countries, peer reviews, analytical activities when you analyze different challenges you have, working with your own local stakeholders, with your own local important players like your own companies or research centers, etc. And also smaller pilot actions as well. But again, this is not a program for investments. This is not a program for the companies. We cannot fund participation of private businesses. We cannot fund direct funding going to the businesses or direct funding going to the renovation of the infrastructure. I mean, you cannot use this funding to build anything, basically. So these are soft projects. And of course, in every project and in program in general, the working language is English. Of course, you can do your own local activities in Ukrainian, but when you are entering the partnership, when you're writing the project application, all communication with us, it's in English because this is a program language. And this is also, everything has to be in English in the project applications as well. And yes, the projects are, each project is going to go for 4 years. 4 years for every project. So when you enter the project partnership, you're going to be working with these people from different parts of Europe jointly for 4 full years. And the platform, in a nutshell, this other service, which is 100% funded by the program. Basically, this service is first of all, you can get to meet people in a community, because everybody involved in different projects and these activities, they have a profile on our website. You can connect to them. There's a lot of practitioners there that you can actually meet from different European countries and connect already. There's an expertise. We have a set of experts that are working for the program in different topics on energy, on innovation, on entrepreneurship, or social, etc. We're going to introduce them later in one of the slides. There are some services like peer reviews, matchmaking, policy help desk. I will explain about a bit them later. They are going to be available to Ukraine as well next year. They're not available right now. And of course, what is available to you right now is this vast knowledge of policy solutions or the good practices. You can read about all the good practices already now on our website. We have, I believe, more than 3,000 accumulated good practices from the projects from all the years of the program running. We're of course updating the database already. So this is publicly available to you. You can already go and see different projects and their different good practices. And we're going to give you some example of the good practices in the next presentation. And then this was just a brief intro. We're going to go deeper in the project features, about the funding, about the platform, about practical parts of your participation. But maybe now we have time for questions. I guess we have reserved around 15 minutes for this question round. And I could try to answer them. Or if we see that's something that we're going to cover in the next presentation, I will just talk about it in the next presentation. If I look at the chat.
Так, колеги, з приводу питань кажу українською мовою, бо я прочитав зараз чат, який тут у нас знаходиться, тому я буду радий додати кілька коментарів. По-перше, захід сьогоднішній проводиться англійською мовою, перекладу на українську немає. Такі заходи проводяться у всіх країнах Європейського Союзу і не Європейського Союзу, які приєдналися, і це звична практика. Ми, як національний орган цієї програми, протягом наступного часу, подальшого, будемо контактувати з вами, і для тих, хто не володіє англійською мовою, будуть перекладені всі презентації, проведені всі додаткові зустрічі українською мовою, всі інфографіки, інформації, все, що необхідно. Тому прохання не робити з цього велику там якусь зраду перемогу. Абсолютно в цьому нічого складного немає. Крім цього, хочу вас повідомити, що аплікаційні форми і партнерства все одно потрібно буде робити англійською мовою. Ми зі своєї сторони готові допомагати всім з приводу перекладу, роз'яснення і всього іншого. Але рано чи пізно ви стикнетеся з тим, що ви потрапите в ситуацію, де не буде кому вам перекласти українською мовою, а треба буде спілкуватися англійською. І наступний коментар, останній, певно, від мене. Зараз у нас починається сесія запитань. Ви можете задавати запитання англійською, включаючи мікрофон. Можете підняти руку, задати питання англійською. Якщо ви хочете задати питання українською, можете його писати в чат. Ми перекладемо їх для лектора. Дякую велике.
I can maybe, because I see some questions in English, I can briefly answer those. Thank you, Rostislav, for additional explanation. And I will also try to speak slower because I understand that I was maybe a bit too fast in the beginning, but we're gonna go in more details and I'm gonna go a bit more slower as well. First was, I saw the question that can Ukraine join the project right now? Right now, you cannot join the project. We are gonna have an open call next year. I'm gonna present this information later to you, but basically we're looking at opening the call in 20th of March. So you will be able to join the projects then. What you can do right now, you can already look at the different running projects and you can already register on our website and you can try to get in contact with different participants from Europe already who are preparing maybe some project applications. But right now you cannot yet join the project, but it will be available to you next year. The same goes for many of the platform services. They're going to be available to you next year. Because again, as I said in the beginning, a lot of things are still for approval for the monitoring committee of the program, which is formed of all the member states or the partner states, which is going to take place in December. And after we have all the decisions in December, then we're going to launch officially your participation, basically. Also, I see with which authorities and institutions is cooperation possible. As I said, it's when we say region, it's very broad. So regions can be regional level, it can be national level, it can be local level. If you look at the typical partners of the projects, it's of course, let's say cities, city governments, local governments, regional governments, regions, national level, ministries, national agencies, specific agencies, but also universities that are coming with the specific expertise. Also sometimes, let's say, chambers of commerce or associations, research centers are also participants. But mainly, again, these are authorities, national authorities, regional, local. These are the type of partners that the program is made for. The requirements for forming a partnership, I'm gonna explain it in a future presentations later on. How can we search the partners? The same. You can and you should register the program website. There's going to be a link in the presentation later on. I'm going to explain that, where you can register on the program website, and then you have an access to everybody who's also registered from the Europe, and then you can contact them through there, and there's going to be partner search. And we're going to also do some different events as a program when the call is going to be open for networking, for finding new partners. We're going to do some communication activities, promoting Ukraine and all the other new coming countries for existing partners so that they are aware of. We have already made sure that current projects know about the opportunities to involve new partners from the Ukraine. And there's going to be dedicated web space also for networking. All these things are going to come in a short time, basically. Can we publicize project ID on the platform? I believe you can publicize the project ID on the platform if you register. Yes. Does the program also need a partner from Europe as an Interreg next year program? If I understand the question that, well, we need partners from Europe. It's again 27 member states. It's Norway and Switzerland plus the new 7 candidate countries. And I will explain it later, but basically every single project has to have balanced partnership from all parts of Europe, from north, east, south, and west. So you can't just have projects where you have 5 partners from Ukraine and 1 from Germany. No, it has to be balanced. It can be 1 from Ukraine, 1 from Germany, 1 from France, 1 from Sweden, 1 from Spain, for example. These are the types of projects we are funding. We are funding European level projects, European level partnerships. And this is actually eligibility criteria that you have to have partnership, which is balanced from 4 or at least 4 different parts of Europe. We're going to add the new partner states as the 5th part. So at least 4 out of 5. Requirements for application forms. Well, application forms are going to be available to you online when the call is open next March, and you will see them. And of course, requirements, again, I will not go very detailed and technical today. You can see this program manual. And I really advise you to go there because it's on a website. It's in digital version. It's in English. you can go there and you will see everything basically that I told here today in much more detail. The eligibility criteria, the assessment criteria, the quality assessment criteria, the criteria for different legal bodies, that everything regarding the financing, how the procurement works, etc. This is all in manual. This is all public information, and it's going to be very, very useful to you when you are applying for the projects, when you're looking for the partnership. So I really recommend already, if you're interested, to go and look at it. Digital solutions. If I see more. I will probably take one more, two questions, and then we can maybe go to the next presentation. And as I present, maybe things are gonna get more clear to you. I see one more. Is it possible to explore funding options for the development of strategic documents, digital solutions in partnership with local stakeholders? Basically, yes. I mean, the program is centered around different policy instruments. And by policy instrument, we mean any kind of public instrument. It can be the strategy for the city, strategy for the region. It can be a law. It can be a regulation. It can be a specific, I don't know, mobility plan for the city, or it can be innovation strategy or national health guidelines, etc. Everything what is basically made for the public use by the public authorities as type of policy instrument for the implementation of certain policies. So if, for example, you have a policy on digitalization for the companies, either at the national level or regional level or local level, maybe you have a city strategy to fund digitalization of the businesses, you can use this policy instrument and participate in the program, for example. And I will take the last question now, and then we're going to go to the next presentation. The last question is, what kind of projects will be available for Ukraine for municipal company? Every kind of project. We are not limiting participation on your status. As a municipal, of course, as a municipal company, you have to be involved in a policy making. You have to be linked with the owner of the policy, which is probably a municipality itself. But then in types of projects or thematics, we are not limiting you whether it's a municipal level or it's a regional or national level. Because it can be that in one project we have ministries collaborating with the regions, collaborating with the universities and local municipalities. It's all open. I guess we should go for the next presentation. Because we already saw so many questions about the projects and we see that you already are very interested, that we're going to go a bit deeper into the key project features. And I hope that will also clarify some of your questions that you had. Yes. So it's running a bit around. So the content of this presentation is project objectives and activities, the typical activities you can have as a project. Partnership requirements, very important question, of course. Briefly, going into project finances, we're not going to go very, very deep in all kind of situations because also we have local regulations. Some project examples and how to take the part, of course, the main point of interest, of course. So project objectives and activities. So basically, the objective of every single project is also to mirror the program's objective. So the objective of every project, independent of the topic you're covering, is to improve regional development policies. And again, we're saying regional, we are on the program side, we are taking it broadly. So regional also can mean national policy. It can also mean city policy. It can also mean regional level policy. Policy instruments in a broader sense. And I understand it might be sometimes confusing. Yes, we are primarily always looking at the regional level, but then we know that every country is different. In some countries, regions are very big. Some countries, regions are small. In some countries, they don't have regions at all. They only have a national level, for example. That's why when we say regional development policies, we speak about every kind of policy instrument, which is tackling the challenges at the regional level. Either it's support for businesses, or it's infrastructure, or it's a health, or education, or skills, etc. Whatever. It depends on the topic of the project, what kind of instrument you choose, and of course, if you are responsible for it or not. And yes, as I said, all kinds of public interventions or policy instruments can be addressed in different levels. And projects, as I said, it's 4 years. So you're going to form a partnership. You're going to join a partnership with different partners from Europe, with other regions, with other cities, with other ministries, for example. And for the 4 years, you're going to be able to exchange experience with each other to the capacity building for your organization and to identification and transfer good practices. So in the practice, what it means is that you're going to be able to either online or physically go to the study visits to different countries, organize online or physically study visit to your country on a topic, organize your own local meetings with your own relevant stakeholders, like your own companies in a topic, or organizations or universities. You can participate and also use the funding to do some local analysis to find out or do some kind of to find out what's the problems in your region, what are you facing. You can do all kind of these types of experience building activities. Again, nothing regarding funding of infrastructure, nothing regarding giving direct aid to the companies, etc. And pilot actions also possible under the conditions, and maximum 1 per policy instrument. And pilot actions is something that we are testing, and this is small scale. And if you look at the pilot action, it's from 40,000 to 100,000, 120,000 maximum per region per pilot. So again, small scale activities where you're taking, which you're developing jointly with other partners from your consortium. And when you're taking, for example, existing good practice in Spain, and you're trying to test in a small scale how you would apply this existing practice in Ukraine, for example, in your region or your city. And then if the piloting is successful, then you're ready to uptake it and fund it later on with your own policy instrument. For example, I don't know, some municipality in Spain has installed solar powered charging stations for electric bikes. You would like to test how it would work in your city. You can work jointly with this region from Spain, use the pilot funding to put maybe small one installation of this one charging station. You test it, it works out for you. You're ready to fund it, to fund 20 of these from your city budget, for example, afterwards. Again, very, very small scale testing of something that's already been working. And you can do the pilots either from the beginning of the project, so you have to describe them in an application form, or you can apply for the pilot later on in a midterm review of the project implementation. So after some time has been running in the project, you can decide jointly with, let's say, your partner from Spain or from partner from Norway that you want to do the pilot jointly. And then you're applying to us, and you will be able to then implement this pilot. But again, pilots are not core of the projects. Many projects don't have pilots at all. It's only a few projects who do it. And whether or not you have pilot or don't, it does not mean that we're gonna assess the project more favorably or not. So pilots are something that you can do, but you're not obliged to do. But in several cases, people are thinking that, okay, they want to do this small scale testing. So an implementation of activities. So every single project is running for 4 years. It's for all the projects. So the program is, I would say, it's highly standardized. And every project is running in 2 phases. So core phase, 3 years, and follow-up phase, 1 year. And the core phase is basically when you are spending the most of the funding, when you're spending most of your effort in the core phase, where you're actually doing the exchange of experience activities. So you, within the core phase, let's say for 3 years, you're going to be doing 1 or 2 study visits each semester to different country, or you're going to host your study visit in Ukraine, hopefully. Or you're going to be doing some local analysis. You're going to be looking at the different good practices, working with your own stakeholders, maybe some ministries, etc. How to maybe take these learnings from Germany, from Spain, from Netherlands to improve in your situation. And you will try to actually integrate these learnings in your own situation, in your policy instrument, either launching a new project or preparing to launch a new project funded by your policy instruments, or you're going to do some changing management criteria of your policy instrument. For example, you're preparing funding instrument in your city for your companies. You're taking some good learnings from Germany. You are then changing criteria how the companies are applying to this funding instrument. All these things are happening within the core phase within these 3 years. And in a follow-up phase for 1 year, you can still do exchange of experience. You can still travel. You can still learn. But mainly it's dedicated to monitoring what has been achieved, to monitoring the policy improvements you did, maybe in the 2nd year or the 3rd year of the project, or implementing very simple action plans. And action plans are mandatory only for those regions, only for those partners policy instruments that did not achieve policy improvement within the core phase. And this is going to be very simple. There's an annex in the program manual how the action plan should look. Very simple thing that you have to do in 1 year. So very, very small scale interventions, basically. But again, the follow-up phase is meant for monitoring how you actually succeeded in improving your policies, have you succeeded in getting all the new knowledge and building your capacity as an organization. So this is the logic of core and follow-up phase. And for now, I would say you should focus on the core phase, really. And implementation of activities. Yes, I said action plans. Very simple paper, like 2-page paper, needed only for those regions which will not achieve any kind of results by the end of the core phase. So by the results, we mean policy improvements. So you change new criteria, you start a new funded project, you added new priority in your strategy, or you added a new funding stream in your strategy, etc. All these are policy improvements. And if you don't achieve them by the end of the core phase, then you will have to provide us with basically 2 pages of the action plan, what you want to do in a follow-up phase. But again, we don't look at action plans. We're mainly looking at hoping that you will be able to implement some improvements within the 3 years of the core phase. And yeah, partnership requirements. Very important thing, partnership requirements. So who can be partners? And who is eligible? And eligible, that means that who can get the funding from the program. And as I said, mainly it's public authorities. So national level, it can be the government, ministries, national sectorial agencies, etc. It can be regional level, regional administration, or it can be local level, municipality, city administration. All these are of course eligible, and these are our main target group. And also public law bodies, or the body is governed by public law. So the organization is governed by public law, and usually it depends on each country, but usually they are universities, public universities, let's say research centers, public research centers. It can be some specific agency that is a development agency that's public and governed by the public law. It has a public board, etc. And very specific criteria, of course, what is considered in each situation. Body governed by the public law is basically according to the Commission regulation, EU regulation, and you can get a bit more information in the manual as well. So if you're gonna, after this event, you're gonna go read the manual. So section 3.4 partnership. So there's a more explanation about different legal, let's say, structure of the organization. And we can also have private non-profit bodies. So these are mostly NGOs. It can be chambers of commerce or industry associations, but they are non-profit. Private, non-profit. And we cannot have companies. The companies, private businesses cannot be part of the program. They cannot get funding from the program. So this is not a program for private businesses. And again, what is very important is that it is not us, the program, who decides finally on the legal status or the eligibility of the participant. It is the member state, it's the partner state. So it's going to be Ukraine national authority who's going to say to us, to the program, whether or not this chamber of commerce or this university qualifies as a public law body or private non-profit body. Because we cannot know, we have 27, more than 27 countries, and we cannot know in each different country, in each region, the legal status of the organization, and we cannot verify. So it is up to the partner state to verify to us whether or not your organization qualifies for the program. So these are the partner states confirming the eligibility. And yes, and the funding rates also, we're going to cover them later for different partners. And geographical coverage, as I said, every single project has to have broad representation in Europe. So we will have now 5 areas: North, East, South, and West, and the additional area, which is the 7 candidate countries. So and each project has to have at least one partner from one of these areas. So it has to be balanced partnership. Balanced in terms of geographical coverage and also in terms of funding allocation. So it cannot just go everything to the western part or everything goes to the southern part. It has to be more or less balanced. And it also has to go beyond transnational areas. And this is maybe more relevant for the partners from the south because we have Interreg Mediterranean, which is covering a broad set of countries. So we cannot have the project in Interreg Europe covering mostly and giving the budget mostly for this part, or that everybody is coming from the new area, or that the majority of the partners coming from the Baltic Sea area. Again, this has to be balanced and mixed between more and less advanced regions. We have well, these maps in Europe, for example. We have different development levels of the regions. Red is, let's say, less developed regions economically, and yellow is more developed. So we have to have balance. We don't expect that only projects that are, you know, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium, that are applying, which more or less developed regions. We need to have everybody. We need to see balance also in these terms. So again, broad coverage. And typically, yes, before we go to finances, typically if you say the project, we look at, let's say, 5 to 8 regions represented. So it can be 1 or 2 organizations per the region. So 5 to 8 partners, this is a typical size of the partnership. A typical project, the funding for the whole project for 4 years, it's, let's say, 1 million to 2 million euros Interreg funds. So this is a typical project. So these are not big scale projects. They are, well, average projects basically for the European scale. And funding rates, indeed. So 80%, 70%, 50% for Norwegian, and for the Swiss is different. I will not go into the Norwegian and Swiss part because it's not relevant to you. But basically, we're looking at 80% Interreg funds, so 80% of funding from the program, from the European Union, going to public or public equivalent bodies from all EU and 700 countries. So if you're a city, or if you're the regional administration, or you're a ministry from Ukraine, you're going to be getting 80% funding from the program. The rest, 20%, is your own co-financing. If you're a private non-profit from Ukraine, like a chamber from commerce, for example, or development NGO, then you get 70%. So it's a bit less. 30% has to come from your own pocket. Very important here, program is not giving any kind of pre-financing. So you have to ensure the cash flow from your own budgets. What it means is that when you get the funding, when you get the project approved, you're going to start to implement it. You will not be getting any funding from us beforehand. So you have to implement the project. You have to pay the salaries, cover for the travel costs, etc., from your own budgets. Then after the first 6 months, you're going to do the first progress report. The progress report is going to come to us. We're going to verify it. And then the first tranche is going to be paid out to the partnership. And only then you're going to get reimbursed of what you spend. And it's going to happen like cyclically throughout the implementation of the project. So again, some programs in EU, they are providing advance payments. We are not doing that. We cannot provide an advance payment. So again, and this is why the program is mainly geared for the public institutions, because then you can ensure your own cash flow. You have funding. It will be much more difficult for the private companies to do it. This is also one of the reasons. But basically, no pre-financing. You have to pre-finance your own activities, and then you get reimbursed after we verify the progress reports. 6 months, etc. Yes. What you can get, though, is preparation costs for the project. And this works, and yes, with a simplification, because this is a new program. We had the previous program, 2014-2020. There are many new rules implemented in the financial management of the program that are simplified, that it's easier for you as a partners. So preparation costs for the project is 17,500 euros for the whole partnership. Let's say if you have 10 partners, it's for the whole 10 partners. And it goes to the lead partner. And yes, to explain the concept, the lead partner is usually the one organization taking the charge of the whole partnership. So usually it's more experienced organization. Let's say it's, I don't know, the federal state in Germany is the lead partner of the project. It will get 17,500 euros if the project is successful, if the project is approved, and then it will distribute it either equally to the partners, or in some cases they keep it on the lead partner because they have been using consultants throughout the project, etc. It's up to the partnership to decide the distribution of these funds. But what's important that you will only get these preparation costs if the project is successful. So it means that if it's recommended by us and approved by the partner states, and if in this case, and only when the first progress report has been approved. So it's going to come in the first tranche. Again, you cannot receive this funding before, and you will only receive this money if the project is approved. So if, for example, your project is not approved, it's an open competition, of course, then you cannot count on this money. And then about cost categories, staff costs are the main costs that we are funding. So basically in every single project, we are looking around at least 50% of the whole funding going for the staff, for the salaries. Because again, this is a capacity building program. We are building your capacity of your staff. Your staff is participating in all kinds of activities, to the study visits, project meetings, etc., partner meetings. So this is the biggest part of the budget, basically. And it is fixed percentage of the gross employment cost. So basically, if you have a project manager in your city working, let's say, 60% of his full time for the project, then basically we are funding 80% of the 60%, how it would work. Office and administration, this is a flat rate. That means that it's calculated automatically from your staff costs. So if you have, I don't know, 100,000 staff costs, 15% is going to be calculated automatically, which you can use to cover administration. You pay for the electricity, you paid for the heating for your office, etc. This is for everybody. Travel accommodation as well. So the program allows you to travel. You can go to the study visits or the partner meetings in different European countries. The amount of funding that each partner is getting is automatically, it's like calculated as a 15% of the staff costs. But in justified cases, and I believe Ukraine is going to be one of those justified cases, you can also calculate for the real costs, because we know that in, let's say, very far regions or outermost regions or islands, the travel can be very expensive. And also it might be more additional costs for Ukraine or other new countries. So in justified cases, you can also calculate your travel costs based on the real costs. So basically what's going to happen is that you know that you'll have, say, 5 different meetings in 7 different EU member states. You can already calculate on your side how much it would cost if you bring 2 or 3 people from your organization, the travel, the accommodation, the daily rate, etc. External expertise and services, again, this is very important. This is very important part of the costs. So you can hire external expertise on a topic. You can hire some consultant to help for you, or some specific expert to work with you. I don't know, for example, the project is on energy efficiency. Maybe you need some specific expertise to do an analysis on a different kind of alternative energies. You can also contract this person or this company using public procurement rules, and this is going to be linked to the EU public procurement laws. But this is not the majority of the funding. It should not exceed, it should not go even near the 50% really. So again, because this is a capacity building for you as an organization, not capacity building for the consultants. But of course you can do it. You can fund this. Also within this part, you can use the funding to bring your stakeholders to different study visits. And every single partner, every single region in the project has to also create their own stakeholder group. So it means that you're not only as your organization participating in the joint activities with the other partners in Europe, but you're also arranging your own group of important people, organizations in your region relevant to the topic. So these can be representatives from different ministries, or they can be representative from university, or also private companies in this case. And then you can bring those people on a study visit, and you can also pay for their costs from this cost category. So in these cases, you can also bring private business if they're relevant. So maybe the project is on topic of digitalization, and you want to bring maybe some of your large companies who want to digitalize. They are part of your stakeholder group. You can't cover costs, let's say, of 1 or 2 participants for this company from your budget, from this budget line, but you cannot pay to them. And equipment, this is a very small amount of funding. It's around 7,000 euros per the whole partnership, just for, procuring some computers for office equipment. That's it. And infrastructure and works for pilots only. And I told about the pilots in the beginning. Again, if you're doing some very, very small scale infrastructure work, you're developing, let's say you're putting this one electric charging station for electric bikes in your city, for example. This you can cover, but only in a pilot. But again, nothing very big, no big investments. And yeah. So I know this was very complicated, and again, we will not in the Q&A. We are not planning to go very deeply today in the finances, into the financial management of the project, into the auditing, etc. This is not the goal of today. I understand that these things might be complicated, and this is why we can also take some of these questions back and answer them later. And we also going to do several events, several question and answer sessions on these specific questions when the call is open, because this is complicated maybe also for you, but everybody else as well. Even from experienced countries, sometimes people are not fully understanding all these things because this is very administrative stuff. But then we'll give you some project examples, and of course in the Q&A I can give you more as well. And this is one of the running projects. This is one of the projects that we approved in the first call. They started implementing the project this year in March. They're going to be doing it for 4 years. So the total budget of the project is 2 million euros for the whole partnership, for the 11 partners. So you can divide it basically. And implementation is from the March this year until the May of 2027. So 4 years. And project is called Skila. It's under the topic smart. You can see this icon green. So it's under the first priority of the cohesion policy, Smarter Europe. And the project is on smart specialization, skills, ecosystems for twin transition. And it sounds difficult, but basically what the twin transition means in the terms of EU, in the European Union, we're now speaking about transiting countries, industries, organizations to be more digital and more green. So doing investments in digitalization and doing investments in basically greening the way that everything's been done. And so this project is really addressing skills gap and mismatches in the face of green transition, focusing on education as well, and basically working together to address different kind of issues in education systems and for the companies, for example, as well. You can, if you want to see more information about the project, you can go on the website here. You can do it for every single project that we have. And I will not go in deep in the topic of the project, but just to give you an overview. So you have 11 partners. You can see in a small map, I hope you can see. All parts of Europe we have, and mostly of them are public institutions in this case, regional or local level administrations. So you can see partners from Ireland, from Italy, south of France, Lithuania, Denmark, etc. So again, this is the coverage of the project. This is a typical project. 11 partners. It can be also less. I would say this is a typical project. 11 partners, 2 million euros, working together on a single topic. And topics can sometimes be very, very narrow. This is a broader topic. We have also some very narrow topics that say how to improve, how to better improve tourism development, or how to manage the development of e-mobility, etc. And then within each single project, every member, every partner is looking for their good practices. So they are trying to identify what is working in their regions, what could be interesting for other partners. And then, of course, they're also looking what other partners have found out, what could be interesting for them to maybe transfer, to learn, to take for their needs. For example, this is one of the old projects. This is Project Smarty. They're finished. So 2014, 2020, this is already implemented. They're done. But for example, this is a good practice, again, for the skills. Skills for the digital transition in the textile sector. So there was a particular training program and industrial district in Italy, Prisma. So it was developed by the public institutions. It was funded by the public institutions, like a training program for companies in the textile sector. So public funding program where they trained companies and say they describe this good practice, how it was set up, what was the funding, who were responsible, how many companies are involved, why this practice was successful. So brief description, shared it not only with the project partners, but also it was then shared with us, with the program, and it's now available on a good practice database. So, and the idea is that, for example, if your project is working on these issues, let's say on how to better train companies, how to use public funding to better train our companies in the sectors, you can use this example, and you can say, okay, it worked in Italy. You can talk to your Italian partners, get out more details, How exactly did you fund it? What kind of criteria you implemented? How do you engage companies, etc.? All these details, and then you can transfer it in your case. And maybe you want to launch a similar type of program in your region or in your city. This is the whole logic of identifying good practices that are already working there and trying to transfer them. And also finding similar good practices in your regions. Maybe you have training program in your city, or maybe you have some particular funding scheme at a national level that's very well working, that you are working with a lot of industries that you might to share with different partners from Italy, from Spain, from Germany. You can all do that. This is the good practice logic. And another project example, and this is on different priority. This is priority green. 7 partners. Again, you can see in a map covering very broadly the whole Europe, different regions. The same thing. It's running project. It's one of the new projects. 4 years. The budget is a bit less, so 1.75 million euros for the whole partnership. And this project is on green health. And this is very practical project on how to better manage protected areas. But the idea is that partners, all these partners that came together, they want to have, let's say, more tourism, more people using the protected area, like the nature parks, for the recreation, for the health, for sport, etc. But also at the same time, they have a problem how to keep these areas safe, so that the people who are going there, they're not destroying the environment. How to put, let's say, different infrastructure for tourists there, so it's also preserving biodiversity. A lot of regulations for every single nature park, etc. So again, all these partners came together with a similar challenge under the topic green. They want to have these protected areas to keep the biodiversity there, but they also have to be, they also want them to be used by the people in a sustainable way. So they are bringing their own policy instruments. In many cases, these are specific management plans for the protected areas, or specific laws who are regulating what you can do or you cannot do in a protected area. They're bringing all this knowledge together, and then they're looking, okay, what each country is doing. Maybe this one country is doing different kind of regulation than we do. Maybe we can apply it to us. They're doing this kind of, I don't know, boat trips in the rivers, but they also are building something with the specific regulations, what you can do, what kind of boats you can have in the river, what kind of boats you cannot. Again, a lot of sharing of information, learning with the ultimate goal to improve their own policies, their own funding schemes within the topic. So this is project under the topic of green, and we have many of these projects in the green. And good practice again for an old project, BIDREX. So global monitoring program for biodiversity in Catalonia in Spain. So again, this was particular monitoring program developed by one region in Spain, generating set of indicators for the biodiversity changes within this, let's say, one particular part of the Spain. Again, there was a public funded monitoring program run by the region, and they are sharing it as a good practice, because maybe some other regions, some other partners might want to also develop or implement similar type of this monitoring program in their regions. So again, this is the logic of good practices, and within the project, you're going to be doing a lot of these works. You're going to be discovering all these good practices within the projects. But as already was put in the chat, you can see all these good practices in the website today. So there's basic information about every single practice in the website. You can go on the website, good practices, you can see many of them. It will also give you a very good example of what type of good practices in the projects there are, and they are very diverse. Depending on the topic of the project, they can go from very specific to maybe broader. How to take part? Very important. So what are the funding opportunities in new projects? As I said, you cannot join the project today, but it will be possible to you to join the projects next year. So we are organizing as a program upcoming call, which is going to be open to organizations from all Europe, including the new partner states, including Ukraine. So the third call of the program, and call means that we are going to announce open competition for the projects. Will be open in spring. I mean, it's still for approval for the monitoring committee, but we're expecting that we're going to launch the call on 20th of March. So end of March is going to be opening of the call, and it will be finished on 7th of June. So you have time from 20th of March to 7th of June to apply, to submit the application of the project jointly with other partners to us, to the program, fully online. Nothing is in paper. Even the declarations, you can electronically sign them or sign them and scan them. We are not requiring any kind of paper submission. Everything is online in our online system. We have a system called Portal, where you will see the application form is going to be open to you. You can be able to fill in the information required, etc. And again, this is the third call. It's going to be open to everybody with the equal terms. So Ukraine, the participants from Ukraine are going to be able to join the program at the same terms of everybody else. It's an open competition. You're going to be engaging in the partnerships with everybody that you want to work with, different parts of Europe. Everybody has the same rules. It's very important for you. We're not planning specific calls for Ukraine or specific calls for Germany or specific calls for anybody else. It's joint call. It's open. You're on equal terms. Yes, normal rules apply, and there might be additional call after 1 year, depending on how much money we're going to spend. We're looking at putting up to 130 million available for the third call for the whole Europe. So depending on how much money is left in the program budget, maybe there's going to be a fourth call, maybe not. It depends on how successful you are and how the calls work. I'm just going to briefly explain you so that we announce the call. The system's going to be open to you. You're going to receive terms of reference, every information that's required of you. You will be able during the call to also consult with us, with the secretariat. You're going to be able to network. You're going to check with us your project ideas. We're going to give feedback to you when the call is open. To answer your questions, we're going to organize different communication events during these days. So you're going to get all this information. And then when the call is closed, we're going to internally in the secretariat assess your applications. We're going to check the eligibility with the partner states. We're going to check the eligibility, for example, with Ukraine. Then we're going to do quality assessment. Usually, depending on how much more projects we get, it takes time because the projects are complex. But usually, we're looking at the final decisions at the end of the year. So hopefully, we're going to get the decision from the member states, let's say by the end of 2024, so that you can implement your project starting in 2025, in the beginning of 2025. So it takes a bit of time. It's not that you're going to submit the project and you get the results in 2 weeks. No, it takes time. If we go next, and we are also considering now a restricted call. Again, this is for the approval of the partner states in Madrid in December. It's not finalized yet. I cannot share many details about this restricted call. But as I said, we already have projects running in the first call, and we're going to have results of the second call projects also in December. So there might be that there's going to be a possibility for you to join already existing project. We're looking to have at least maximum to 2 partners in the new country. So let's say maybe one from Ukraine, one from Albania per project, no more. And it's going to be very simplified. We're going to be working with the project lead partner to the portal. They're going to integrate the new partner. You're going to provide information to the lead partner, and it's going to be simplified integration. And you can then join the project as a full partner or as advisory partner with your own budget. And also we will increase then in this case the total budget for the project because it's additional partners. There's more management for the lead partner up to 3%. But again, decision to have this restricted call is going to be made by the partner states, and also afterwards the decision to integrate is also going to be done in a written procedure by the partner states. So how it works is that we as a secretariat, we are evaluating every kind of application, whether it's open call or restricted call, and we are recommending or not recommending based on criteria. But at the end, this is a partner states jointly as a monitoring committee who are approving and deciding. It is not us who are deciding which projects we are going to fund or which partners we want to include. We can only recommend. It's up to the partner states to decide. Yes. And then time for questions. I tried to explain as much as possible, but we can take now time for questions. And afterwards, we're going to go more about the platform and some of the next steps. So Q&A and chat. I don't know, maybe I could start maybe with some questions that are in English, and then afterwards maybe Rostam, Yana, you can translate to me some of those in Ukrainian. There's a lot of questions. Maybe I hope I see there's some in Ukraine about the funding. I will not take those. So I have any restrictions on funding projects public safety? Depends on the project. I mean, the topics are, well, the topics are specific topics of projects are not restricted as far as you are within one of these priority areas defined by the cohesion policy. So this is what I can say. I cannot comment public safety. It could be there can be a project in public safety. You can find different partners in Europe who want to work on this, for sure. Does this program provide mentoring support only, or the main goals include technical aid also? The program is not technical aid program. This is a capacity building program. So if you are going into the project, you are building your capacity as organizations by working together with other partners in Europe. So we are not providing, let's say, direct mentoring or direct technical aid. There is consultation services basically available to the platform. I will tell it the next presentation, but this is a bit different. Minimum number of partners. Okay, minimum number. There's some details there, but I will not go into minimum number because it's not going to really apply to you. You have to look at the partnership that is basically looking around 5 to 8 partners. And as I said, if you're coming from Ukraine, it's most likely going to be that there's only one partner from Ukraine, or maybe 2 partners from Ukraine from the same region. It can be, let's say, the regional authority and a university jointly coming. In some justified cases, it could be 2 regions from Ukraine. But again, we are not looking at having only, let's say, one partner from Ukraine, one from Bulgaria, one from Sweden. This is not going to be enough because you also have to cover all the parts of the Europe. This is what's important to you. Could it be 7 partners from 2 to 3 countries? Again, 2 to 3 countries, it will not be enough in terms of geographical coverage. You should really look at this in this way, that minimum requirements is one thing, but reality is that we have to look at the broader coverage. So yes, can Ukrainian partner be coordinator? Yes. In the third call, as I said, it's equal for all. The partner from Ukraine can be a lead partner. It can be advisory partner. We didn't explain the type of advisory partner. So basically, this is mostly what universities are doing. So they are partners who are not coming with a policy instrument, but they're coming with the specific knowledge that they are sharing with the whole partnership. For example, it can be the topic on digitalization. You're going to have a research center that works on digital technologies. They can be advisory partner, like a consultancy partner for the whole partnership. So it's also possible. They are full partners, but their main role in the partnership is to give particular technical knowledge to everybody else. So you can also be an advisory partner. And this is usually what universities are there, because universities, in most of the cases, they are not responsible for the policy instruments. Yes, and it was not in the slides, but when we look at the eligibility criteria, so in a partnership, you have to have at least one partner coming with their operational program, with the ERDF funding program. So this applies to European partners. So it has to be at least one. And then for the whole regions represented, at least 50% of the partners have to be responsible authorities for the policy instruments. So that means that they are responsible for their strategy, for their law, etc. If you are not policy responsible authority, for example, again, you're a university, then you can only be part of the project either as an advisory partner, or you are bringing, let's say, the declaration, you're bringing it together with you associated policy authority, which is the real, let's say, authority responsible for the policy instrument. They also provide declaration. You have to involve them in the stakeholder group. But even in those cases, you as a university have to provide to the program, to us, the explanation how you also co-responsible for this. Are you in a specific working group, etc. So again, we're looking for mostly for the policy responsible authorities. On the side, how to find project partners. This is going to be in future presentations about the partnership. Association of local governance can be partners of your municipalities. We have municipality association as a partners. Again, the legal status and whether or not the association is responsible for the policy instrument is going to be confirmed by the member state. Also very important. Yes, we are going to be asking the member state, the partner state, to confirm whether or not each particular organization is responsible for the policy instrument. So for example, again, you're a university, you're coming and you're saying that you're responsible for the national funding scheme for industry. It's going to be the state of Ukraine saying to us, no, you're not, because actually the Ministry of Industry is responsible for this policy instruments. Therefore, the university is not eligible, for example. I'm looking if I answered everything. Maybe there are some questions in Ukrainian that you want to translate for me that I could take.
If I can, in the Q&A, Tatiana is asking about the finding partners and project ideas, and she would like to get a translation into Ukrainian. So maybe Kristaps, if you could answer, and then one of our colleagues on the Ukrainian side could briefly translate it. Would that be possible?
Yes. So yes, there's a partner search. There's going to be a partner search function on the website. If you now register, and we have a link in the last presentation, if you now register as a user on a website, you can already create your own profile. You can describe which organization you present, which country, etc. And you can then, because everybody who is on a website registered, they have the same information. The name, the organization, the country, the region, what type of partners they're looking for, what kind of project they're looking for. And you can use this function through the website to look for the partners. This is one thing. And of course, if you are know different partners from different activities you did from the projects, etc., you can of course contact them as well through their own personal channels. I mean, the partner search is the same for everybody in Europe. Many people know each other. They just contact themselves. They work previously together, etc. But the tool that we provide as a program is the website and the ability to use the website for looking for the partners, for looking for projects, for looking for project ideas, and also for presenting you as a participant for a certain organization.
Так, перекладу. Тобто є веб-сайт Інтерегу. Кожен може зайти туди та зареєструватися. І під час реєстрації ви вказуєте тип вашої організації і напрямки, за якими ви працюєте. І після цього, як ви вже зареєструвалися, цей веб-сайт, там можна шукати собі схожі організації з інших країн ЄС, і партнеритися, тобто писати їм напряму і партнеритися з ними, тобто шукати собі спільні схожі організації за інтересами, за напрямами діяльності.
Yeah, I hope it was clear enough. I see one question. What is the minimum and maximum amount of fund project? If you look at the funding, again, the amount of funding required, it depends on activities, basically. So this is the general answer. So, but the average what we are seeing is that it's, let's say, 1 million, 1.5 million to maybe maximum 2.5 million for the project. How much funding it goes for each particular partner, it depends on your activities. It depends on, of course, the salary level, the costs, etc. So you are going to do calculations of your budget. So it can be very different, but at the same time, well, you can calculate, for example, if the project is 1.5 million and you have 7 partners, you can just divide it equally. But in reality, it's usually never equal. It depends on activities. Usually the lead partner, they have a bigger budget because they're managing the whole partnership. They're contacting us. They're responsible for the project. So they have bigger budgets. Other partners have smaller budgets. But again, it can be very different. But at the same time, we are looking for balance. So we're not going to be approving projects with other conditions that, let's say, one partner has 500,000 and other partner has only 50,000, because it's not balanced, and we also, because the activities are the same, and we want you to be more or less balanced. But again, I cannot put or give you a direct number. It's going to be up to you, up to the partnership, how you are designing the budget. And this is why it's always good to be together with other partners who maybe know better this and experience and can help you. So there is no particular exact number what I can provide you. What Ukrainian regions can take part in the program? Okay, this may be also the national representative can help. I believe the current regulation that we are on the table for the monitoring committee is that from the commission is that these are of course all regions that are under full Ukrainian control currently. So unfortunately, the regions that are under occupation currently cannot be part of the program. So this is what I can probably say now. But I guess more details on this can be followed up. I mean, the regions who are Ukrainian full control liberated regions, they are everybody of course can be eligible for the program. Do all participants from Ukraine have to be fluent in English? All participants enough. The one, well, I would say this. If you're organizing your local events, you can do them in Ukrainian, and you will probably do them in Ukrainian. If you are bringing, let's say, participants to some of these events, if they don't speak English, you can also probably arrange with the partner hosting that there's some translation, etc., or you can provide your own translation. This is possible. So we also have, participants from France, for example, and sometimes in Italy and Spain that also don't speak English. But when it comes to the project management, when it comes to the person responsible for implementing the project, that is participating in the partners meetings, that's providing information to the progress reports, that is writing parts and application, then you have to have English because the communication is in English. Every communication with us is in English. All the application forms are in English. All the documents of the program are in English. So in that terms, the proficiency has to be there because you have to just be able to work with the partners because again, we're speaking about whole Europe. So English is the universal language of the program. But again, your own stakeholders, the people you're bringing, yes, you can ensure translation. It's possible. You can organize events. You can do translation as well. We have it in many countries. Yeah, the clear procedure about how to join the existing project. As I said, the restricted call, it's upon the decision of the monitoring committee, whether or not we have a restricted call and what will be the terms of reference of this restricted call. It will be known to you after the middle of December. So at this stage, there is no clear terms of reference, but we're looking to have it. I mean, we have draft version for us, but it needs to be approved by the partner states. Yes, well, yeah, I see these questions about the areas close to the occupation zone, etc. As I said, it's not currently now. It's again, it's draft documents for the monitoring committee. The current formulation is that every territory that's free, that's Ukrainian territory, can be part of the program. And I see some questions about cooperation within different regions of Ukraine. So I will take this. The idea of the program is not to fund cooperation between different regions in one country. So we're not funding primarily cooperation between one part of Ukraine with another part of Ukraine. The idea is to fund cooperation in Europe. So usually it's only one region per country cooperating with other regions of different countries. In some cases in justified cases, we have, let's say, two regions from one country. We have projects, let's say, there are one island from Greece and the northern part of Greece. So we have two regions from Sweden, it's a big country, etc. But usually it's not majority. It has to be specifically justified. And usually, again, these partners are there not because they want to cooperate with each other, but because they are looking to cooperation with Europe. So this program is mainly for funding the cooperation for you with everybody outside of Ukraine, not within Ukraine. Of course, if you have two regions in Ukraine, it's approved in a project, you can cooperate, you can share information, you can do things jointly. Of course, you can do it. But the logic is not for this. But of course, if it happens to be the case, yes, you can cooperate. What requirements for forming the team of the project? There are no specific requirements on this. Usually what we have, let's say, let's take an example. For example, you are a city, public municipality. You are part of the project. Usually there's one project coordinator, like one project manager on your side. There's one financial manager. Sometimes they are procured on outside, depends on organization, but let's say there's one financial manager. And then there might be one or two experts or staff working for the project for the specific topic. part-time of the work. And how you set up your project team internally, it's up to you, it's up to the organization. It's also going to be part of the budget calculations, how much stuff you can allocate for the project, how much funding you can get for this, etc. So there are no strict requirements, but usually we have, well, basically we have one manager and a person responsible for the finances, and because you're gonna have to do, let's say, the content parts and also the financial part. But yeah, there are no specific guidelines on that. I guess we can move on, and if we will have another more questions, we can take them afterwards. And maybe also I would ask my Ukrainian colleagues, maybe you see something that I did not answer that you see is very important, that I can take, let's say, next round of Q&A. So about the platform. Okay, projects, this was very, I would say, complicated. Of course, this is the biggest part of the program. This is where the funding goes. This is where you can access the funding. But also the platform is, at least on our side, it's equally important because this is a service that we fund fully as a program, that is available to you, and that is available to you today, and that is available to you whether you are in a project or not, because this is much more accessible to everybody in Europe. So you don't have to be partner in a project to get access to the platform services. Platform is a bit, in a simplified way, it's like a capacity, it's like a consultancy tool that program provides. But basically it's a capitalization tool. We take all the knowledge we get from the projects, all the good practices, different inputs, and we have a team of experts that work with this knowledge that can help you. And I explained it in a nutshell, how it works, what are the services, what are the examples. And again, most of the things you can use today already. So what do we provide? First of all, people. So we have number of experts, thematic experts. You're going to see all of them at the end of the presentation. But of course, you can also see all the people who are involved in the projects. And the platform is organizing different set of thematic events online, few physical ones as well. We do many online webinars, especially in the COVID time, we did a lot of webinars. So these are thematic. They're ongoing all the time. They're free of charge. You can participate. Online events, you're just going to go on the website, you're going to see all the online events and different topics. They're going to be like this, like seminars, like webinar, like small-scale conferences on specific topics. You can just join them and listen. There are going to be some of those like networking events or some of the more practical workshops, like physical workshops. And you're going to see some examples. But just last week, we, for example, had the webinar on artificial intelligence for the public service. So we had 3 speakers from different organizations, also for speaker from the project, sharing the knowledge on how they're already now using the tools of artificial intelligence to improve public service, like monitoring of the road transport, etc. So very, very topic specific events. We have similar events on energy efficiency, on how to install smart grids, etc. Expertise, good policy advice. Yes, good practice database is another thing. So good practice database. I already showed you a few examples of good practices. They are available to you today already. Again, you just go on a website, you're going to see all of them. And then we have these also policy briefs. So one is good practices. So again, they are short. If you want to get more information on particular good practice, there's always a contact information of the owner of the good practice. You can contact them, you can write them an email. You can find this, there's a link. The presentation is going to be available to you afterwards, of course. And this is one thing. And another thing is the policy briefs. And the policy briefs are a bit like these analytical materials. They're a bit longer, prepared by our thematic experts, and they are, again, for free. You know, also OECD is producing policy briefs and the Commission, etc. Again, on a specific topic, on the topic of artificial intelligence, on the topic of smart grids. We're running it out. So different topics again, and you can use them already today, because in a policy brief you're going to have expert opinions, you're going to have good practices, you're going to have links to different, let's say, funding schemes and Commission, etc. Depending on the topic. Good practice database, yes, over 3,000 expert validated good practices available online. So all those that are available in a database, have been validated by automatic experts, and they're very, very diverse. And you can see some of the examples, and this is also how it looks in the website. So you have, for example, good practice on AI Foundation Certificate for Public Servants. We have Irish case, Food Vision 2030, so the Ireland strategy of integrated food systems. We have the scheme of Andalusian carbon standard scheme for the certification of carbon credits. We have the success stories of the green hydrogen project. So particular project on green hydrogen, big investment. Very different. Depending on the topic, you can just go there. What's the topic of interest? And the policy briefs, as I said, these are analytical papers. They're not academic. They're made as like a roadmap to you, like a guidelines with a lot of useful information. Say 10, 20 pages long, maybe shorter. For example, this one is a policy brief, recent one, produced in July, on decarbonizing heating and cooling. So very, very specific on renewable technologies. What are the good practices in different public authorities in involvement in decarbonization of heating and cooling systems? And it also outlines different kind of European support instruments for heating and cooling systems that you can use, let's say, as a municipality, for example. So these are also available to you. And again, you can download them. They're for free, fully accessible already today. So you can see very, very different. Again, there's one on nature restoration, how to better manage forest. There's one on open innovation for the companies, regional policies for green hydrogen use, innovation procurement. This is very, very recent, very interesting, how to organize differently the procurement systems in your regions and in your countries to procure more innovative approaches like digital solutions, etc. Again, very, very different. Access to people, yes. Well, we said that we have around 10,000 Interreg Europe community members, and we want you to become the community member, because if you're interested in the projects, if you're interested in the platform services, then you will go in a website. And this is also for the partner search. Interreg Europe community, you create your profile. It's a bit like Interreg LinkedIn or Interreg Facebook in a way. To simplify, basically you can contact with any of these people. And when it comes to the partner search, when we are doing the opening of the calls, usually people are very, very active. They are looking for the partners. They are presenting their ideas on the website. They're looking for the new partners. You can get in contact. And then I already told you about these thematic postal learning events, either physical or online. A majority of course, are online. Webinars like this today, except of me talking, is going to be some expert in the field and different speakers from the, let's say, from the European Commission or from some research institute or for some region or project, etc. So example of webinar that's a bit older. So yes, and this was on jobs and skills for energy transition, and all the webinars, the old webinars, you can see the recordings. So if you are interested in a particular topic, you can go back and you can watch the webinar. So if you saw some topics you're interested in, you're missing out, you're not missing out. Just go and watch the recording. And yes, we had like 100 participants. And yes, also learning events online. As I said, everybody can register online and join. Some of the recent ones, we just had yesterday one webinar on setting up regional funds with the European Investment Fund, and this European Investment Fund instrument. We had a speaker from the European Investment Fund. We had a speaker from Joint Baltic States Investment Fund that they created together, like Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia. She was explaining how it works, how many projects they funded, how they set up this fund, etc. We're gonna have in December the webinar on policy experimentation, also a very new topic. We had some one on sustainable energy. So again, very, very different policy events online. And again, you can use this whether or not you are in project or not. This is made for everybody, basically. And access to expertise. And this is more like a service that we give as a program in addition to the projects. This is not yet available to you. This is going to be available to you in 2024. I don't have exact timeline now, but sometime early next year, hopefully. Policy help desk, basically you can contact our experts directly with your policy challenge. But the matchmaking and peer reviews are, let's say, the core services that we do. So matchmakings are smaller, either online or physical meetings that we help you organize. For example, you're a city in Ukraine, you're interested in how to better organize, let's say, waste management in your city, and you want to, okay, let's start the peer review. Yes. just give you this example, and we go to peer review. It's more complex, and you want to find maybe some partner who has done it already in Germany, so we can help you to get a matchmaking with them, set up a meeting, moderate this meeting. It can be short, let's say 2 hours web meeting, for example. This is very simple. More complex, but very, very valuable is peer review. It is not available for Ukraine now, but it is gonna be available. And again, either the physical real meeting or online. We did a lot of online in the COVID time, especially, and depending on, of course, availability to travel and host, etc. Extremely simple application. It is fully funded by the program. So if you have a particular policy challenge, again, let's take the same. You're a public authority. You are developing your new waste stream strategy, for example, or this was on energy efficiency skills. You're applying to the program. It's very simple. It's 2 pages in English. Yes. You describe your challenge, what kind of input you would like to have, and then when we approve this peer review, which is like a physical consultation, you can say it's a consultation, but like a consultation meeting, then the platform experts are going to look for the peers. And what do we mean by the peers? They are other practitioners in Europe, people from other regions, other ministries in Europe who are dealing with the same issues, who can help you. And usually what happens is that, for example, if we host it physically, we just had one peer review in Sweden. There was a region in Sweden that was looking at the green investments in hydrogen, investments in wind, etc. We brought experts, different peers from Germany, from Spain, like 5 people together with thematic experts. 2 days physical event on the spot. We learned about the Swedish case, about the challenges. All the peers shared their knowledge. Was fully funded by the program. At the end, we produce recommendations for the host that they can then use with the policymakers to implement. In some cases, we are also doing the peer review outside of your region. For example, you're identifying a particular case, let's say again in your city with the waste management, and you see a very great example that it has been done already, let's say in a city in Spain. We can also talk with the city in Spain and maybe organize the peer review there, and then you go into the Spain to get with other peers to learn. This is ongoing. It's open all the time. When it's going to be able to. We have delivered over 60 peer reviews, and all the reports and recommendations are available online. You can go in every single one of them. You can look at the main outcomes and how the peer review was done. So again, get acquainted with this because this is an excellent opportunity for you to learn, even if you're not part of the project. This is very important. If you're a public authority, of course, you're not part of the project. And yes, you can contact the platform of experts, apply anytime, starting from the moment next year when it's going to be available. We're going to assess your application within 1 month. So it's very fast. It's not like with the project, it's very fast. And we can also, experts can also help you with writing this application. So this is very, very different than the project. This is, at this stage, it's not yet still extremely competitive. It is a bit competitive, but not as much competitive as a project. So if the application is correct, we're gonna approve it and fund it, and then of course it's gonna take time to organize the physical or online event, to get the peers, etc. But you're gonna be assisted with our expert support. And yes, and these are the people behind the platform. These are all thematic experts on all the priorities: smart, green, connected, social, citizens governance, and also the support team. We have for example, Elena is our thematic manager. We have Mark, who is the main expert on innovation issues. We have Astrid, she's an expert in energy, etc. So all these are like real people working for the program, working for the youth, delivering these services, analyzing the good practices, providing the webinars, looking for the peers, looking for the speakers, for the experts, writing the policy briefs, organizing the peer reviews, going to the peer reviews, in a sense, consulting. And again, funded by the program, not a part of the project. They cannot help you in writing the project. You cannot ask them to help in a project writing, etc. So this is apart from the project. So in a sense, we are separating this. And yes, as I said, most of the services are available already today. Database, policy briefs. You can join our events today, thematic webinars and workshops. And from early 2024, don't have a date yet. Also, services like peer review is going to be opened. So yeah. Yes, before we go to the next steps, maybe questions about this. Open the chat. I see many questions in Ukrainian, so these I can Unfortunately, I cannot directly answer. Maybe you can translate some questions to me that you see more important, Jana, Rostislav.
Yes, I can translate. We have some question from Vitaly. According to the partnership, what is the minimum number of European partners? And does the budget have to be divided between partners? And how are the funds paid to the European partner?
Okay, these are very technical instance. The funds are paid. So basically, the funds are paid to the lead partner, and then the lead partner distributes it. So when the lead partner is going to submit the joint progress report, it's going to be some time until we verify it. We verify all the expenditure. There's also going to be first level audit involved probably, but I will not comment on that because this is country specific. And then we are basically, when it's approved, when let's say the progress report is approved, every 6 months basically. So it's not one at the end of the project, but it's during the implementation of the project. Then the funding is paid to the lead partner, and then lead partner distributes equally of what has been required. And yes, we are not gonna send money to each partner, but it's gonna be sent to the lead partner because it's the responsibility of the lead partner to distribute the funding for all the partners. About minimum requirements, but again, one thing is minimum, the second is the recommendation. So the minimum, if I look at the regulation, so partners from at least 3 participating countries, at least 2 of which should be beneficiaries from EU member states, which only and this is this, yeah. But again, based on our experience, normally we look at the partnerships from 5 to 8 regions, so 5 up to 16 partners. This is the normal size of the partnership. And we have an exemption for the partnership requirements if we are involving somebody from the remote regions, like an island, like from La Réunion or a Canary Island, etc. So, and again, it also goes in line that you have to ensure the European level partnership, that we'll have 5 different areas. It's in the program manual, you can see which country belongs to which area. So we have North, South, East, West, and now it's going to be additional area, which is going to be the candidate countries. So the partnership has to have at least 1 from 4 out of 5 areas. So let's say 1 from Germany, 1 from Italy, 1 from Finland, 1 from Bulgaria, or let's say in this case, maybe 1 from Germany, 1 from Finland, 1 from Spain, 1 from Ukraine, like very minimum. So I hope that I answered. But again, we're looking at the broad European partnerships. We are not funding very small projects where you don't have the European coverage. I hope I answered. And again, if you are very particularly looking at the partnership, very detailed information on the balance and the proportionate involvement on all this is in section 3.4 in the program manual. Yes, you're gonna see everything, the role of lead partner, etc. It's gonna be more detailed explained to you. But we don't have manual in Ukrainian, I believe we only have it in English. Maybe some other questions you have?
Maybe I also want to add some question for you because I read the different comments in the chat and also questions and answers, especially about the co-finance. We'll be happy if you can to add some much more detailed information about the situation with Ukraine participants. What it will be the co-finance contributions, for example, from Ukrainian side for the universities, councils, and so on.
Yes, I had it in the presentation. So we have 80% Interreg funds or 70% Interreg funds. So 80% goes to the public. We have it. Yes. And 70 for the private non-profit. So private non-profit, these are usually associations, NGOs, like chambers of commerce or industry association or particular kind of this setup of things. It's 70% of funds. Public, this is all public institutions, ministry, state agency, municipality, region, and in most of the, basically also all the public universities or public research institutions, because they're public. So what happens is that we are providing 80% of Interreg funds. The rest 20 is your own co-funding. And it depends. I mean, we cannot have in-kind contribution, but for example, if you are paying the salaries and for example, the staff is working let's say 80% for the project. You are paying this 80%. We are funding this 80 out of 80. So additional 20% of the staff time you're covering from your own budget. Or you just are putting in your national funding. But how it works in each particular country, I cannot comment because it's very different in different countries. In some countries, their national level is providing some support for pre-financing. In some countries, they don't. In many cases, there's just, organization has their own budget that they're putting their share in the project. I cannot comment on this country-specific co-funding because this applies to everybody. We can only fund maximum of 80% for all kind of costs. The rest 20 has to come from your own funds. And of course, there cannot be double financing. You cannot cover your 20% from the funding from a different EU project, for example. This is forbidden. But of course, if you have your own, let's say, your own municipality budget, you can cover the 20% from your own municipality budget. So the only activity that we are covering fully, this is the platform services. This is like the peer reviews and these things that we don't require any kind of co-funding from you. When it comes to the projects, 80% maximum or 70% in case if you're a private nonprofit, the rest has to have come from your own pocket. But the country specifics I will not be able to comment now.
And also, I see a question about the lead partner.
Yes, the lead partner. Okay, yeah. If the lead partner finances expenditure to enroll in services in other country, we cannot do transfers from one partner to another partner. So if I understand correctly, I will try to explain. If I understand correctly, so idea is that, for example, you have the partnership is organizing an event, let's say our workshop, and it's organized in Germany by the German partner. The German partner, if he is involving speakers like experts in the field for this workshop, it's the German partner's responsibility to contract those experts and pay for the costs. It's not the other partners. The same goes if you're organizing the event in Ukraine, or you do an online event in Ukraine and you want to involve some external experts, or you are doing analysis of your situation and you want to involve experts, you have to be paying for them from your own budget. Whether or not you can procure experts from outside of Ukraine, I guess you can. It depends on the procurement rules, because in Europe, of course, everybody can procure experts from whatever you want. But again, you cannot. You have to procure them directly using procurement procedure. You cannot get somebody through another project partner. If I hope I was clear with that. Have you got representative office in Kiev? This is probably a question for the national authority. Yes, can Ukraine be lead partner? Yes, I can just double confirm Ukraine in the third call. Ukraine can also be a lead partner in the project. You can take the lead in the project management. And in the program, we are employing the lead partner principle. It means that, okay, we have, let's say 10 partners in a partnership. We only have one lead partner. And the lead partner is responsible to all the communication to us. The lead partner is responsible to all the funding with the program. So lead partner is responsible to distributing the funding to the projects, to the partners, receiving the funding from us, communicating with us, submitting joint progress reports, etc. So lead partner has a lot of things to do. So you have to have, capacity and experience to be a lead partner, because you basically have to manage the whole partnership to make sure that every deliverable that's done by every partner is of good quality also for the program requirements. So, but yes, Ukraine can also take the lead. It can be a ministry, it can be a city, whatever you can propose. You can propose and find partners and be a lead partner. Of course, you can be either lead partner or advisory partner or just a normal partner. It's free for everybody. The same equal rules apply to every single country represented in the program. Exempt from VAT under the program. The VAT specifics, maybe.
Yes, I can
maybe Ruth, yes.
From my side. Yes, thank you, Christos. Colleagues, по двох питаннях щодо відкриття офісу, цим займається департамент наш координації, національний орган управління програм. Тобто, якщо всі питання, які будуть, ми готові будемо вам додавати, допомагати і все роз'яснювати. З цим проблем не буде. Тобто, ті, хто вам пришлють інформацію про цих презентаціях, звертайтеся до нас. Крім того, є сторінка у Фейсбуці Департаменту координації МТД. Теж можете звертатися до нас. По звільненню від податків. Так, відповідно до 153 постанови Кабінету міністрів, виграні проекти, вони будуть реєструватися в Україні. Таким чином передбачатимуть звільнення від усіх податкових навантажень.
Yes, and of course, if you are interested in all the, budget-related questions, if you go in the program manual, you probably want to see, all the sections related to the budget, which, everything is described there. What is eligible, what's not eligible. For example, gifts are not eligible. You cannot use the project funding to procure any kind of gift for the participant of event, for example. This is forbidden. We cannot have that. Like all these very practical details are in the manual. Yes, cash contribute. Yes, you cannot cover the exchange rate parts, etc. So I will not go into detail on that. But if you have specific questions on this, we can answer them afterwards, and we're gonna still do more events about the specifics for the cost categories, eligibility, cost, etc. So yes, that's all covered. Yes, and the presentation, I believe, presentation will be available to all the participants. We're gonna send it out to you, so you will receive all 4 presentations. You're gonna have them. Do I see more? Do I register my project? Who is responsible? Again, when you're gonna register your profile on a website, you're gonna be able to put your project ID in a website, dedicated space, and then you can present your project outline. For example, if you want to be a lead partner, you're just looking for partners for this type of project. And generally, who is responsible for this among the partners? Generally, it's the lead partner or the potential lead partner who is proposing the project idea or concept, and they're looking for the partners. And you're gonna see many partners who want to be lead partners in Europe actually putting their project ideas on a website, and you then can contact them directly. So you're gonna see it. Will experts be able to come to Ukraine when the war is still going? It depends on the situation. I cannot give you an answer right now, because it's not only experts; it's also the peers. It's the different participants in Europe. And to be honest, even when the war started, when we were doing peer reviews in Poland, close to Kaliningrad, there were some experts who were afraid to go to that part of the Poland. So I mean, the peers from different parts of Europe. So it might depend on the situation. I cannot give you an answer to that. We might organize the physical peer review. If it's safe for everybody to travel and go, it may be a full possibility, of course, even if the ongoing war, but it might be also be done online. But it probably depend on a local coordination and also the availability, willingness of the peers to travel. Because in the peer reviews, it's mostly not about the experts, but it's about the other, let's say, experts from the different European countries, because these people are not paid. They are doing it on a voluntary basis. We are engaging them as a program. We're saying, we know this particular person from the ministry in Sweden. You're doing a great job on this. Would you be interested to join as a peer? What they get is they get possibility to network, to share experience, etc. So many of these people do it for free. program is covering the travel costs, etc., but we're not paying those experts. So it's on a voluntary basis. So I cannot answer this question. It's going to be case by case basis. We can do it either online or physically or hybrid. We had in Sweden, we just had hybrid. We had some participants who unfortunately had COVID, so they joined online, for example. So it's going to be a specific situation. Managing. Can the lead partner directly transfer the funds to the no? The lead partner is gonna, when the lead partner receives funding, it's gonna transfer it to the account of the project partner. And again, mind you that if you are procuring expert services, you are on your side, you're financing it, your own, because you're not getting money before, you're getting money after. So example, you have budgeted that you have 20,000 to procure experts. You're paying those experts, they're delivering the service, they're receiving 20,000 euros. And then upon all the invoices, etc., you're reporting these costs to us, to the program. And after we have verified it, only then you're going to get reimbursed of these costs as a partner to the lead partner. Lead partner is not going to pay anything directly to any kind of expert. It's the responsibility of partner to make sure that this is settled. And again, we are funding, as we are not providing any kind of advance payment, any kind of pre-financing, you have to use your own budget to pay for every service you're doing, and you will be reimbursed afterwards after each progress report. I hope I'm clear on this. Do we have more questions, or maybe we can go to the next steps and then take the rest of the questions at the end? Yes? Okay, thank you. I see there's a very, very big and particular interest. So it's the people who are here, they're ready, which is good, We're happy to see it. Okay, so the final presentation on my side about how to join the Interreg Europe community, how to sell websites, etc. So it was already covered in several questions. We will just go with it. So how to join the community? So the website is the overall, the hub for all Interreg Europe community. So, and yes, we have brand new website operational as of this year as well for the program. So you can create your profile. There's a link and the information about onboarding. So you can create your profile like a Facebook profile, like I don't know, TikTok profile, whatever. And when you have created your profile with the information, so you can meet people, you can apply for the project to peer review, okay, when it's going to be available. You will be able to register for events. You can receive personalized content based on your profile choices. You can outline what particular information you want to see. So you're going to receive information. And then you can also receive this expert advice. And when the call is going to be open, you can also submit the questions to us directly, only during the opening of the call. So March to June. Also questions to us directly, to the secretariat, on your particular questions, on the financing questions, on whether or not this idea would fit, etc. So this is also going to be a service that we give to you as a program as well, only when the call is open. But everything starts when you create a profile. And then, even if you don't create a profile, but we advise you to do, so you can browse all the project websites of the current program. So there's a link. You're going to see each website of the project. And the particular case of our program is that we are creating websites for every project. We are hosting the websites. When you're going to have your project, you will not need to create your own website. You will not need to pay to developers to create websites. We don't do it. The program is going to provide you with a website space. Of course, you're going to fill in the relevant information on your side, relevant pictures, etc. And then you're going to be able to use this space to put all the information of what you're doing, that you did this event, that you what kind of activities you did, what kind of deliverables you delivered. But the program is the hosting of all Interreg Europe websites with unified communication rules, etc. And you can see all those projects. Greenhouse Express, Lotte, and if you look at the small icons, you see that the green with the windmill, etc. This is how you can differentiate between the topics. So, for example, Lotte, this is one of the projects that I monitor personally. This is led by the Finnish region, Päijät-Häme. They are focusing on innovations and particularly how to create industry transition from the more traditional industries to more modern industries. So this is a project. Greenhouse, that was an example. This is the project on the protected areas. Best digital innovation hubs. You have these EU-funded large digital projects in every EU member state. This project dealing on this. We have CODIL about how to deal with the COVID aftermath, projects on tourism, etc. Browse. It's like a menu. It's a big menu of different kind of projects that you can look based on your interest, whether you're interested in social, innovation, green, transportation, etc. You can see information. And in each information, you're going to see who are the partners, the budget, the implementation time, the main outline of the project, some good practices, whether or not they have deliverables, if they have delivered something, information about events they did. Many projects started their events, they did some study visits, you can learn about this. And this is also going to help you to understand what actually the projects are doing. And then, of course, you can sign up, and we strongly encourage you to sign up for a newsletter. Again, you're going to create a profile, and then you can get monthly updates. So every month, we're going to send you a newsletter as a program directly to your email. All the relevant information about the call, you will not miss anything. If you subscribe to the newsletter, you're going to receive information when the call is open, with all the links to the supporting documents, to the terms of reference, etc., where you can use a partner search, all these things, everything. When the peer review service is available to you, etc., you're going to receive this well in advance. So do subscribe to this. Strongly encourage. And come to our events if possible. I know that there can be travel restrictions in Ukraine, but of course, we're doing a lot of online events, like today as well. But if you can't come to the physical events, we strongly encourage you to do. We cannot cover the costs for you to do it. You have to use your own costs from your own institution to do it. But it's very good for networking and meeting people. So, for example, we are organizing these kind of information days in every country together with the national representatives, of course. We are planning to do probably more information days for Ukraine as well, maybe on a specific topic. Most of the cases, I mean, the secretariat can always join and answer your questions, online or physical as well. We just had info day also in Bosnia, was it? Montenegro last week. So we're planning also to do this kind of information events for all the candidate countries as well, but not only for candidates, also for the existing ones. Which means that when we do an information event for the existing country, because we all the time have new partners, we're also emphasizing the new partner states. For example, if I'm going to be doing the information event for Bulgaria, I'm going to be specifically telling about the possibility to involve partners from Ukraine, from Moldova, from Albania, etc. And we're going to launch the program, the third call on 20th of March. And we're going to organize the big annual physical event in Antwerp, Belgium, which is a 3-day event. Everybody from Europe comes. It's a lot of presentations, but it's also a partner search. You can network. The information is online. You can save the date. If you can join, would be great. I don't think that we're going to have, for now, online parallel to this. So it's going to be physical. And you can register to it in December. There's going to be availability to register for this event. So if you can, strongly encourage you to come. And yes, as I said, already now you can join any kind of webinars we have. We just had one yesterday. You can watch the recording of that. It was very, very practical on this invest in you investment things for the companies. Very practical, I would say. And there's going to be the second one in December, but you can still, if you go on the website, you can see news, you can follow all the upcoming events. And yes, and that is it. That is it on our side on this introductory information. And I really saw that there's a lot of very specific finance related and eligibility related questions. And I guess we will need to go a bit more deeper in those in some future information events. We also have maybe some colleagues from finance answering these specific finance questions. This was more of like introduction to the program in general, because I understand this is the first time that we are doing it for Ukraine, at least from the Secretariat side it's the first time for such a broad audience. We still have almost 500 participants. So I hope that we were able to convey to you the main messages of the program, what it is for, what it is not for, what is possible and what is not possible. So also to manage realistically your expectations. Again, this is not investment program. There is no pre-financing. We cannot fund activities for the companies. We cannot directly support businesses, so we cannot do those things. But what we can do is that we can support the policymakers, we can support the public administrations to be better in what you do for your citizens. So probably we have time to do some more questions before we finish, and maybe there's some questions in Ukrainian that came up that I should answer. Okay. If there was a question about recording, so all webinars recordings, if the one from yesterday is not up yet, then it's going to be up very soon. Basically, every single webinar we do, we're going to have. If we have recording for the event of today, we are recording it right now, so there's going to be available recording as well for you. Maybe you have to check.
I'm not sure that it's very important point to share the special recording, because it will be not the last presentation, it's not the first step. And also we send first of all English version of all presentation, and the next week we send you Ukrainian version of the presentation, and also for the next few weeks we will be happy if you can save the date for the next our event in Ukrainian language, with specifically much more interesting question what you ask. And the next steps for our side, we collect all of your questions, all your comments, and we also will be analyzed how better will be present solutions or unique information for potential partners in Ukraine. And also we'll be happy if you can send to our department your, I don't know, your comments, maybe not now, maybe tomorrow, maybe you think about something, maybe you can visit the site of Interreg Europe program, and if you will have some new question, new comments, I want to tell that we are always open for you, for regions, for communities, for universities, for the communities with the business initiatives, different associations, clusters, and associations of scientists, agencies, different agencies, in the local agencies, regional agencies, city agencies, and so on. And of course, we are open for communication with representatives from the different ministers who implement and who found the policy in the different areas. And also, especially, we will be happy to give them much more detailed information about the cohesion policy, about the priority in cohesion policy, how we can to collect this is different point, how we can to share the best practice for your better proposal in the next call. It's my also small comment from my side.
Thank you, and yes, indeed, you have national representatives there. Of course, you should, and we strongly also encourage from our side to contact them with every kind of question. They can answer you. If not, everything can be also traced back to us. We can also share information with national representative, etc. So this is going to be this very working relationship that you're going to have. So please use everything that's available to you. Remind you last time, go on the website, look at this program manual. This is like the rules. Basically, these are the rules, how the program is done, how the projects are done, etc. So read it carefully, keep it close. And if we don't have any more questions, I would just say from our side and our team side, we're really happy to have Ukraine joining the program. Of course, it's very important for us and also for you that we're all part of this European family. We see that there's an extremely high interest. Really hope that we're going to have Ukrainian partners in many projects, and that we as a program also going to be able to help you with the further integration process in EU. So thank you for hosting, Rostislav, and thank you for all the participants from our side. And yes.
Thank you, Christoph. Thank you, colleagues from the Interreg Europe program. Колеги, що хочу додати до своєї сторони, ми, скажімо, як планку ставимо високо, тому і будемо і далі так робити, будемо розраховувати на ваше включення, активніше включення. Ми розуміємо, що, можливо, не всі з учасників сьогодні розуміли англійську мову. Ми готові піти на зустріч і зробити перші кроки, але потрібно розуміти, що вам конкретно в кожному проєкті, в кожній ініціативі потрібно буде шукати своє місце, шукати свою роль, і без англійської мови ви, на жаль, далі не зможете рухатися. Тому наші пропозиції, наші рекомендації до всіх учасників, яких зараз ще знаходиться тут близько 1000, до всіх учасників, якщо ви громади, передбачте в себе англомовних бажано проєктних менеджерів. Якщо ви асоціації, агенції, зважайте на те, що вам потрібно мати в своєму стафі менеджерів, які готові розуміти і загортати ваші ідеї в правильні проєктні форми програми Interreg. Розуміти, що таке cohesion, як воно працює, як працюють cooperation priorities, як працюють ці всі компоненти. Це буде вам потрібно, і ви від цього нікуди не зникнете. Тобто, скільки би ми не забезпечили перекладачів, все одно питання буде заключатися в тому, наскільки ваші проєктні ідеї були доречними, наскільки вони пов'язувалися з тим контекстом, а це, звичайно, можливо тільки в результаті вашої постійної комунікації з такими ж учасниками з інших країн Європи. Тобто вам потрібно готуватися до постійного сталого партнерства з громадами, містами, регіонами по всьому Європейському Союзі. Тому ви можете це робити уже зараз, не потрібно чекати відкриття конкурсу. Ті партнерства, які у вас є, з ким ви десь там знайомились, хто вам давав гуманітарну допомогу, хто вам допомагав ще там щось зробити, куди ви їздили по якихось партнерствах, побратимствах. Всі ці ваші контакти, вони зараз можуть вам дати додану вартість, якщо ви почнете з ними відновлювати комунікацію з пропозицією спільно подаватися на програму Interreg Європа. Таким чином, вибудовуючи вашу комунікацію. І другий момент, то, що потрібно зробити зараз, відвідати сайт Interreg Європа і подивитися, де ви там можете зареєструватися. Але підійдіть до цього свідомо, щоб це не просто була реєстрація заради реєстрації, де ви напишете свою назву і потім zero information. Ну, тобто, підійдіть до цього реально серйозно. Подивіться, що там потрібно написати, які меседжі, яку інформацію про себе, що ви шукаєте, щоб дійсно воно дало якийсь результат. І ті з інших країн, з організацій, з програми, хто буде дивитися на ці ваші пропозиції, щоб вони розуміли, власне, з одної сторони, що ви хочете і хто ви, а з іншої сторони, вашу серйозність і ваші наміри. Ну і також можете там комунікувати і знаходити інших партнерів. Про ці всі деталі ми з вами повернемося ще окремо на подальших зустрічах. Дякуємо всім учасникам. Всю інформацію надішлемо. І будемо з вами на дуже такому короткому контакті. Thank you, Kristaps. Thank you, Ruta. Thank you, Jana, Mikhailo, and some other colleagues who are with us, who are now in online.
Thank you. See you soon.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.